Another Thursday night, another show, another podcast show, AB Boxing News. And let's get right into it, Melo, over the weekend, we had a great fight. Well, in my opinion, great fight.
We had a few great fights. Danny, I feel like Danny needed to work more. Errol Spence dictated the whole fight.
True. It definitely was. Let's break it down a little bit.
All right.
So, Showtime Boxing, PBC pay-per-view, the highly anticipated return of Errol Spence, the Truth Jr. Errol Spence versus Danny Swift Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that, the pay-per-view. I hope everybody bought. I bought. What about you?
I bought. Definitely bought that. I got pizza and everything. Hosted it at my house. I was like, I gotta watch this fight.
Pizza, wings.
Yep, that's it. Had to get the whole shebang bang.
I think everybody's guilty about that. So yes, I had pizza myself. Unfortunately. But back into the fight. Okay, so that was the main event. Also on the card, we saw the return of Josito Lopez.
Oh, he looked good. Josecito Lopez definitely looked good.
I think Josito Lopez is getting there. He's gonna get a big fight. I think he should. In my opinion, why not run it back with Thurman Part 2?
I think. I don't know about Thurman right now because Thurman's stock. He's on fire right now. Thurman still has to make up for that Pacquiao loss, and he has to justify. Like, who was he? I think what I saw you post today. I think he should fight Ugas. I think Ugas is a good comeback. Thurman's the king of layoffs, like Gary Russell Jr.
Okay, I'm definitely going to debate that with you because Keith, one time Thurman was injured. So if you're injured, you're inactive. And if you're inactive, then it's tough.
I get it, but
to a certain degree, I guess.
But his style of how he boxes makes him injury prone. So it comes with the territory. But, he has to come back from that Pacquiao loss. Like, he has to redeem himself. He didn't look good before the performance, before the Pacquiao fight. Let Lopez, stay on fire, and I think he should fight a different name. I don't think he should fight Thurman again. I think it's a high risk and a low reward for him.
Cool, for one time?
Josecito Lopez did touch him.
Right.
Did touch him. Caught him nice, clean.
Caught him nice. That's my point.
Yeah.
But so did Pedraza catch it. I mean, not Pedraza. I'm sorry.
Luis Collazo with the body shot. Let's go.
We can't say like
southpaw.
But Keith Thurman beat him up. He got.
If he had a few more seconds in that round, who knows what could have happened? He was hurt.
He would have took off faster.
Well, I think boxing's a whole woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we can go back years ago if
it was a fifth, how Steele says, we'll all be drunk.
Right. I mean, we can go back to Chavez Jr. dropping Sergio Martinez in the 12th, and if he caught a couple more shots, he might not have got up.
True.
As we reflect on moments like that, so we had the return of Josito Lopez. I think going forward, I think he's in the mix. I really think that he can get a Ugas. He can get a Porter.
Ugas had a lot of controversial decision with Sean Porter. I thought Ugas beat Sean Porter. I thought he outboxed him. Sean Porter was being cute. He was stalling. I just feel Ugas has not get his just due. That's like a lot of Cuban fighters. The Cuban fighters always get put on the back shelf.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I was covering another fight, and I heard about that fight, the decision, and social media was very mixed. It was in between. There were a lot of people saying Porter got a gift and Ugas got robbed.
I felt the same way when I watched it. Sean Porter, some spots he didn't know what to do.
You know what it is with a lot of these fights too? It's the perspective lens that you look through it from. You got you have the, not real followers. People just want to see fights. Then you have actual boxing enthusiasts that really enjoy the sport. You know what I'm saying? Like Pernell Whitaker got a lot of bad, rap for stuff because he was such a slick fighter.
Oh, Sweet Pea.
Sweet Pea, but rest in peace.
But the casuals, the casuals, you understand this too.
The casuals, they just want to see blood.
These are the ones that would pay to see Jake Paul.
Right.
That's
so
true.
That's kind of disqualifies you from even talking about anything boxing.
You know what's interesting? Today I was able to interview Matthew Lefty Guns Gonzalez. He fights this Saturday, 10-0. And I asked him, does a fight like, Jake Paul, I'm right, yeah, Jake.
They both suck, but yeah.
I mean, there's a fight like Robinson getting knocked out by Jake Paul. Does that
A basketball player.
right? I mean, a lot of people were clowning him, but let's be honest. At least half the people that talk shit about boxing or even fighters, they'll never step in the ring. So they should really think twice before. That's the thing with social media. Everybody's a tough bully, but in real life, they get punched in the face.
But we have to call it like this. And I spoke to a lot of people that are in boxing. I'm not going to mention their names, but a lot of people who are champions that I know. And they don't like that people from social media and boxing and getting a $1 million payday when guys are coming out of amateurs, guys 2-time, 3-time Golden Glove winners, national winners, and they're getting a few $1,000s for their first fight. I don't think a lot of people, it's hurting the sport, in my opinion. I just think that, a basketball player made a fool out of himself and got $900,000. I don't feel bad for him.
I don't think he made a fool of himself. My opinion.
You came in there, and I blame the coaches. I blame the team.
But you can't blame his heart. I mean, he got dropped. He got up twice. He could have gave up. Said, "I got paid. Fuck it."
Look.
They getting
Antonio,
paid way too much.
Antonio, let's put it
For
like
that.
this. There's a lot of guys that I walk past in the street all day. I might have a bad day in sparring against a pro, but these are people on the street that will come up to you and think that they will even have a chance in there, in a ring, and they will try to tempt it. They will try to come and get a ring. There have been many type of people. What was that social media idiot that used to come around and try to start fights with different
Charlie
people?
Zelenoff.
Charlie Z.
Charlie Z.
That doesn't take heart. That takes stupidity. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Like, when you get in there and you're making more money than a lot of people, fighters even on PBC or Top Rank, for just getting in there, win or lose, charging like you're in a football with a pair of Air Force Ones, a pair of dunks on, and that takes it doesn't it. You're gonna get paid because you're still a winner at the end of the day, even though you guys drop. He tried to take he skipped the line. That's what I call it.
Exactly.
Skipped up.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, I asked Matthew Lefty Guns Gonzalez about does a fight like that hurt boxing, and he said basically, in a way, yes. If you make it one way, not where you have fighters and then YouTube stars and athletes fighting on the same card, so that could hurt boxing.
And I agree with you. I agree with him because think about like me. I started late. I started at 25 learning. I didn't get grounded until I was 28, 29, fully confident, relaxed, everything. So when I'm in there, I feel I need to get in the back of the line. I just won 4 to 5 pro fights before I turned 40. That's just a bucket list thing for me. I always wanted to live the dream. But I can't put myself in front of a Marcus Brown. I can't put myself in front of a Dimitri Bivol. I can't get to those guys' levels unless I get in the back of the line. And it's not that I'm not confident. I know that I got to pay the dues to get there.
Right, but you're right. Paying dues in boxing and many things. But if someone said, you know what, this guy bailed out of the fight, you want to go?
I mean, we could all be opponents, right? I would. Who wouldn't want to be like if someone said, "Yo, you fight Joe Smith on a 4-week notice"? I would train my ass off. I would call out of work. I would hit the road every day. I would cut down to 175. I would hit the weight room. I mean.
Well, look what happened with Pacquiao. Pacquiao was a no-name.
Yeah.
And he came in, and they needed an opponent for Ladwaba, who was a dangerous fighter at the time. And they went down the ranks up to number 6. Nobody wanted to take that fight.
Yeah.
They didn't know who Manny Pacquiao was. Took the fight in 2 weeks' notice, became champion.
I mean, look at Emmanuel.
You got like those Rocky stories.
I mean, Emmanuel Burton is another example of a journeyman, and his record is 36 and 32.
Emmanuel Augustus, he changed his name.
He's one of those guys that influenced me, like to see him and like, man, this guy don't care. And I kind of took that mentality into the gym because I'm like, look, even today I was sparring cruiserweight. I'm not gonna say who it was, but I'm not in the best shape. I just came out and sparred since like September. I haven't trained. But the fact of the matter, knowing that I can do is like, oh wow, I can punch a pro in the face over and over and over and over and over, and he has to actually think, and I can counter him. See, but that comes from like Dwight Muhammad Quarry coming out of prison. See, but you still pay your dues by being in a gym. It's not like you get a year of training offered on with a celebrity boxing coach, if you want to call him that, and then you can go throw him to the sharks. See, that's and then you give him $1 million. That hurts the sport.
It's tough. I'm mixed. I'm torn in between. I would say I'm torn because I get Nose Hunter. I get what you're saying. At the same time, and boxing is entertainment, and
True.
Of course, it's a deadly sport, but you know what was talked about that night: the return, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones, and the devastating knockout.
But even that,
And people would tune in and pay for the next pay.
But even with that Roy Jones, Mike Tyson thing, how far did it go? It was supposed to be exhibition, but they had scoring, and then they had makeshift judges. Then they had, I mean, like it's turning into a freak show. Like, and I'm not saying certain fighters are going in there fighting MMA guys. You know, 2 or 3 weight classes smaller. I mean, it's happening in boxing. I mean, there's certain fighters that fight guys that are that little.
Oh, of course.
I mean, should I say it? Lomachenko and Rigondeaux. You made a 40-something-year-old man come up 3 weight classes, and you just outmanned him. You know what I mean? Like that's. I mean, I blame.
And people brag about that actually, which is kind of.
They brag about it, but the fact
crazy to me.
They brag about it, but the fact of the matter is that the only way the sport will change if the mindset of the consumers change. And I'm sorry, it's like a beer mentality. Are we the UFC or are we the oldest sport and contact sport in America? We got to represent our sport. We can't be right next to bare knuckle boxing and UFC. They're running their mouth. Dana White just ran his mouth about the what was it, Mayweather fighting Logan Paul or who it was.
Yeah, he did.
He ran his mouth.
He did.
But at the end of the day, he used to carry Mayweather's bags. We can't let that happen in our sport.
Good point. Very good
Well,
point.
the masses are asses, man, and you know, the majority of people though they just want to see the hottest thing, and you know they don't really see the intricacies, and you know, like when you watch a fight, it's different because you're like, oh, this guy cut around this way. Look at that angle cut. Look at that feint. Everybody's like, oh yeah, knockout. Let's get this. Let's see blood. Let's see this.
Look,
That's what they want to see.
I saw the London Arthur versus Anthony Yarde fight, and I liked it because it was a technical fight. Both guys
Close fight.
Close fight. I think it was closer than what people had. Maybe you could have it a 7-5 or maybe Arthur because of his jab and his footwork. But Yarde power shots, he had more power shots. So it's jab versus power shots. You know, and as cool as Anthony Yarde is the fact is those are things that fans don't like. Because the fact of the matter is that Yarde didn't go in there and knock out. You ain't going to knock everybody else out. And if he had 2 good hands, it would be even harder.
Well, let's speak about that actually, because we were just talking about the return of Errol Spence and Danny Garcia. But before we get back to that, we'll kind of break down the Yarde fight and B2 Sports, Frank Warren, Anthony Yarde had another loss. Controversial, in my opinion. I did not see the full fight. I saw pieces and I saw some rounds. I could have seen it 7-5 for Yarde. Des, you seen it the other way around?
Let me tell you, I could see it. See, this is me with the Anthony Yarde fight.
Close fight, I believe.
It was close, but the fact of the matter is that you see, when you score a fight, you got different criterias. You got ring generalship, you got ring cleverness, the jab, agility, defense, effective punches, accuracy. So definitely. The thing about it is that I don't know, the percentages between Yarde and Arthur were close. Could I rule it a draw?
I was just gonna say that. Why not a draw? Play it safe.
Run
it back.
I could rule it a draw. I do feel that the judges saw that Anthony Yarde took a round off, where he was like, okay, he was trying to bait him in and you know change his game plan. See, they know his style, so his style is to really come forward and try to knock you out with power shots. He's a boxer puncher, but more on the puncher side. He's not a guy that's really going to box with you, you know. So it shows that might be a weakness of his style. If you have a guy that has a good jab and good slick footwork, keep and stay in the middle of the ring. London Arthur, I think, should have got more credit for that fight because people were expecting him to get knocked out. And for him to have a hand injury and do as good as he is impressive. And it doesn't take nothing away from Anthony Yarde. I think that he has a lot of potential, but I do feel with Anthony Yarde, and just being honest, I think he needs to stay off social media a little bit. I think he needs to keep the cameras out the gym a little bit more and those other distractions. He's had a bad year. Anthony Yarde's had a horrible year. And for anybody who has that type of mental strength to get in the ring, he won 2 fights this year during COVID. He won one, and I think it was in it was like a 6th round or something like that. And then the other one after, where he stopped his last opponent right in the middle of the summer. I do feel that he had a hard year. You know, a loss happens. Did I feel he underperformed? Yeah, he probably underperformed.
But let's say it was a draw, you know, then the outcome of his year might be different. He might say, okay, well, this wasn't my best performance, but I was able to get a draw or a close victory. Now 2021, we run it back.
I think that's going to happen anyway. I think there's a rematch clause in the contract that they're going to fight. So Frank Warren is really good with that. He wants to keep the UK fans. That's what I like about Frank Warren, that he thinks about what the fans want to see. It's not about, okay, let me protect this guy, let me sit him down and make sure he's not fighting. He's got yards fought 3 times this year, and he's not that young. I mean, he's young, but not that young, and for him to actually get 3 fights at almost 30 years old is great, I do. It's not a strike against his career. I mean, he still has a good record. What is he, like 20-2?
Right.
20-2. That's a great record still. See, the problem is that we have in boxing is that when a guy take a loss, now it's like we write him off. We didn't do that back in the day when Lennox Lewis lost and he got that first loss with Hasim Rahman.
Right.
He came back and avenged the loss. Can he beat Arthur? Yes, he could. Do I feel one thing that he has to improve on at the yard? And it's not for me to go and do it. If people want to reach out to me, help, whatever. But footwork. I feel Yard needs to improve his footwork. And maybe his jab. One thing I don't like is with his jab, that he jabs with his hand down. He comes out and starts to fight with his hand down.
He tries to throw like an up jab?
He throws an up jab. But the problem is that you want to get that respect early, and you want that jab to always be up, and you want it to be a piston. He has power. He can knock someone out with a jab. That's how strong Yard is. But I feel like that jab didn't get London's respect. See if he
gotta establish it first.
Establish jab, stick it to the body, keep the hands up, and that defense will get tighter with that hand up. He won't get caught as much. But like I said, man, there's always room for improvement. He's a late starter, man, and respect to him for going all the way in the sport, starting in his 20s, man. That's hard. People don't understand, man. It's hard. You got an adult body at the full maximum weight.
So what would you say for Abraham? Would you say, let's say they run it back and he wins this time convincingly, then we got to give him his credibility, right?
I would, if I was London Arthur, I would never fight Anthony Yard again. Too risky.
Arthur.
Arthur. Yeah, I'm sorry. London Arthur.
Pardon me.
Yeah. So London, I wouldn't have Anthony. I wouldn't fight Anthony Yard. I would take off running. I would go try to fight like a younger, a different prospect. I would try to get in that bigger circle at 175 and shoot my shot and see who I can get.
So you're saying get the money, get paid,
get the money, because I think he's going to be a mandatory for a belt now.
Oh, that's
so he's a mandatory. Go get the belt. Don't do a rematch because you have a high risk of getting knocked out by Anthony Yard. That's going to be even more sharper. That's going to have his mind's going to be more clear, and I would say take off running. For Yard, Yard's just going to have to chase him and then chase himself all the way into the 175-pound division. He's still dangerous. He could fight Batista. He could fight all the those guys that are still, because Josh Batista has a less record than Anthony Yard.
Right.
We could still have that in UK. I think UK has a lot of great 175-pound guys, more than they have in America. You still got Joe Smith. You still have guys up there. I mean, Yard's ranking is not that low. But
right.
But if I was off, I would take off running. Run, get your money and run. Like, don't. It's too risky.
Okay. Now, as we talked about Frank Warren and B2 Sports and Yard's defeat, now let's go right back into Errol Spence's performance with Danny Garcia. Melo, how did you see the fight, and were you impressed by the return of Errol Spence Jr.?
I was impressed. Danny has power. Thurman said he hits harder than Porter. Danny has power, and Errol Spence was not fazed by any of that. He dictated the fight. He had a good jab. He basically did whatever he wanted to do there, and he was just boxing smart. He showed that he could bang, and he showed that he could box. And he boxed Danny smart, had him up on points. His face was busted up. He looked good.
What would you say what's next for Danny? Because, Danny said this was all it, and now he's 0-3 against Porter. Very close fight, though. Thurman, a.k.a. One Time, and now Errol Spence, a.k.a. The Truth. What's next for Danny?
Danny's I don't think he's going to get another pay-per-view. At this point, his stock went a little down more.
That was his cash out, what you said?
I would say so. He would have to really try to build back up. He can't get an immediate rematch with these top guys. He's gonna have to build back up, take a few smaller fights, really win in a big fashion to get back to that status again.
Danny's usually $1 million fighter, so I mean, let's be realistic. If he takes a lower level fight,
At 140, he was.
At 140, 140 he was a beast.
I mean,
147 is
he still won his WBC belt at 147, defeating Robert Guerrero. So all I can really say is, for Danny, if he takes a lower level fight, is he going to take a lower level check? That's an interesting question. You know, it's a tough question. What's left for Danny Garcia?
he's in a tough position.
Right.
What's left for Danny Garcia has been figured out. That's what's left for Danny Garcia. I never was a big fan of Danny Garcia. There's no disrespect to him. I don't know him as a person, but as a fan, I wasn't impressed. I said when I saw him fight Lamont Peterson, I knew with a guy like that, so flat-footed, he needs a stationary opponent. Keith Thurman already knew from the gate, I'm going to start fast and I'm going to jump on him because I know that he has to be set to counter, and he does not punch and move. Either Danny Garcia is moving or he's punching. He does not jab and move. He doesn't use a lot of angles with his feet, you know.
Well, Danny said at the post press conference that the jab was really, he underestimated Earl's jab, and that was the key factor in his loss.
I don't know why he would do that, and this corner gave a lot of bad advice to him because the thing about it is that Errol Spence's biggest strength is consistency. See, this is what makes this fight with him and Terrence Crawford interesting. See, Terrence Crawford, he switch hits, he's athletic, you know, he's got power too. He does things, but Errol Spence can break you down, but being consistent. See, when you're doing that switch hitting and he's lefty, he's going to throw a straight left hand. He might cut you down the pipe, and he might cut you with a right hook. See, Errol Spence is very cerebral. See, he's going to wear you down. And he did that to Danny Garcia. They even said, right, Danny has never been beat up but so much by an opponent before. We're used to Danny being a slick fighter and being a guy that counters you and works off of you, your offense. But the offense was just too overwhelming for him. And what I say about this, Errol Spence has just enough movement to just stay in range and punish you more. And the body shots were very, very detrimental. I mean, they look like they hurt, man. And
he's a big 147. He hits hard.
I mean, Terrence Crawford was in the building. He was there.
Yeah.
He could fight Danny too, because guess what? They fought amateurs together.
What about Manny?
Manny and Spence, yes.
I would like to see that.
It could be an undercard. Manny and Spence. Well,
I
Terrence
think
Crawford. Crawford is not on PBC, so
Not yet, maybe.
we will probably end up getting a Spence versus Pacquiao as a pay-per-view, maybe sometime next year, the end of next year, whatever. It might
They
have to
both
take
deserve
a-
that pay-per-view, definitely.
What's interesting, those Hunter, is that Crawford almost got to fight with Pacquiao, and Errol Spence wants to fight with Pacquiao. So who is really going to get Manny Pacquiao come next year?
Spence. I think Spence to Pacquiao being so scrappy, I think they know that Spence is a guy that comes forward, he counterpunches as well, and I think I think Team Pacquiao probably thinks that they can overwhelm Errol Spence like they did Keith Thurman, but see, that's a different style. I think Errol Spence can take advantage of a lot of the holes that Pacquiao has in his game, like falling forward with his head, reaching with his punches, sometimes off balance.
Sometimes he steps to the left with the double jab.
Yes, and
That's how Marquez caught him.
Exactly. He delays. He has delays. Pacquiao is a very explosive, athletic fighter that is an offensive fighter that relies on physical ability, extreme conditioning. But when you break his style down, there are so many flaws. That's why I was laughing at fans, and I won money when it said Mayweather. I said Mayweather's going to capitalize on that, pull his head down. You know, and they cry about, oh, well, we got Floyd was younger. I said, well, Floyd was older then. He's 2 years older than Manny Pacquiao. If he got Floyd at 130, we got the brakes beaten off him because it would have been too much to counter. It's like a kid in a candy store.
Now let's say that happens. Errol, Manny Pacquiao. Where does Terrence Crawford go from there?
Danny Garcia. We want to see Danny Garcia and Terrence Crawford because they fought amateurs. They have talked about it many years ago. I would like to see.
So Danny would jump to the top ranked yard.
They could negotiate that.
It could still, of course, it could happen. But will it happen?
Yeah.
Errol Spence.
I mean, he's getting.
Now you fight Terrence Crawford. Is it another? Terrence Crawford, another victory, easy victory,
Well, I mean,
or it's going to be.
he just fought Kell Brook, who's Triple G and Spencer's leftovers. So I mean, and he's a new Jack at 147. So he's got to earn his keep. So he's got to fight. He has no choice but to fight him.
But Nose Hunter, is that fair to say that, okay, you fought my leftovers? That's not Terrence Crawford's fault if
It's not.
guys don't want to fight him.
But he got to do a better performance. Now it's about who could have a better performance.
Well, okay, good point. But at the same time, Terrence Crawford has 7 straight knockouts.
No, and that's amazing. I'm a Terrence Crawford fan. Now the question will be, if he stops Danny Garcia.
What if he stops him?
Now they got to come to the table now, because it's like I'm walking through guys that you had 12 rounds with, and I'm stopping them in 8. That's what Crawford's doing. Brook, stop them
Speaking
early,
of that,
without an injury.
guys. Speaking of that, did you feel like Errol could have got Danny out of there and he took a step back? He put the foot off the pedal.
I felt that he knew where his stamina was. He's in great shape. But when you have a layoff like that in an accident, it doesn't matter how good in shape you come from the gym, that ring rust is going to weigh on you. And I think he was pacing himself. He was being consistent how he always is. And I feel with Errol Spence, you're not going to just stand there and knock out Danny Garcia. He has an iron chin. He has a titanium chin. Like, you're not going to sit. You sit here and try to knock him out. I've seen this man wobble.
You can't play that game either. Danny's dangerous like that. He would have wanted him to open up.
He wants you to open up, and then he wants you. He's going to take one, and he's going to give it right back. We saw it with Khan. Khan lit up Danny Garcia, and what did he get caught with? No look hook.
Right.
And he took Khan's punches.
Yeah.
But is it fair to say that Danny's best days are ahead of him?
I mean, Danny's also getting older. He's only 33 next year.
I had someone mention this to me. I won't say names, but he said that Danny overachieved for his career.
He did overachieve.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. He's definitely an overachiever.
As of right now, would you say Danny Garcia is a Hall of Famer?
Yes, I think Danny's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I think right next to Zab Judah. I think him and Zab Judah are right next to each other as a Hall of Famers. I mean, Danny Garcia, and I don't take that loss that Zab took from Danny. Zab probably passed the torch to a guy like Danny Garcia. But Danny Garcia got figured out. So when you've got a fighter that's so... He's technically sound.
Okay.
But he's physically limited.
But
he's a guy that just can't pull the trigger fast.
But can Danny change? Maybe something could be different for him.
That's like taking a man almost in his mid-30s and asking him to change, that he's been doing the same thing since childhood. I'm sorry, those legs are not going to get better. They're just older. That those reflexes are not getting better. Even when you hear the commentary, they was just like, yo, he just can't do it. He can't throw volume. That's just not what he was built for. Like, we all have styles, right? I'm the nose hunter. I'm a guy, I want to jab you, I want to make you look bad. I'm going to catch you with counter punches, and I'm going to get you with a stiff jab. I'm going to use my legs a lot. Probably not going to change me to a one-punch knockout artist right now. It's not what my parents gave me. It's not my nervous system. I'm not going to ever be a volume puncher.
But don't you think fighters can evolve?
Not at 30s. I think he's overachieved at doing what he does best. That's like asking if Deontay Wilder's ever going to change, ever be smooth footwork. Hell no. He's going to
some fighters can evolve.
Well, let's
look at Mayweather. Mayweather evolved.
He evolved, but he evolved being technically sound and complete.
Because he was a lot of people forget about Pretty Boy Floyd.
But Pretty Boy was technical though.
He was still his high volume punching, knocking people out. He put Diego Corrales down how many times?
His style changed because he got older and he got
his hands got brittle.
But also too, he got older. It's just that he slowed down. He got, He's not going to fight the same way he did at 126, right?
That's true.
But
he's hitting bigger guys. He's small.
His skills and intelligence has always got better, right?
Okay.
So he's on the same line. Taking someone out who has holes and limitations like a Deontay Wilder, and then saying, well, he's going to move like Tyson Fury next summer. Never. He'll be 80 years old, 70 years old, 60 years old.
But could he make just small steps that could help him still get big victories?
No, you can. But the fact of the matter is that he's been stuck in his ways, and he's a late starter. I don't see him ever improving. You might get maybe 3% gain, and that might be great. That might be great.
Well, maybe that'll be a difference between winning a big fight.
I mean, maybe
a
that's
jab. A jab. Let's say he builds a jab and his footwork's just a little better, so he can get that clean shot.
I mean, like Golovkin with Klitschko's old trainer, Banks, right? Jonathan Banks. I talked to Jonathan Banks when we went to the press conference.
Right.
He got Triple G to move his legs a little bit better because Abel Sanchez would neglect the legs.
You got a call.
Okay.
Antonio Baez with Mello and Nose Hunter, AB Boxing News podcast show. Who's speaking?
Joseph Mack Williams.
Joseph, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Everything is good. Thank you for calling in. Like I said, I won my boy Mello and the Nose Hunter. Joseph Mack Williams, 13-0, 8 knockouts. Thanks for calling in. Joseph, how's everything?
Everything's good, man. Everything's going right. Get ready to get back in this ring.
There we go. So tell us, obviously it's been a tough year pandemic-wise. You're undefeated, 8 knockouts. What's next for you?
Just to get back in the ring. I had a little time off, so I'm working with Havoc right now.
Team Havoc, okay.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, so I'm with Team Havoc right now. Andre got me right, Uncle Dre. So I'm coming back in February 6th. I'm set up to fight. I had to fight a couple of months ago and it fell through with the pandemic.
Of course.
Coach Dre said everything is good. I think it's his show, so it's a go. So February 6th, I'm just getting ready for that, the return of the match.
Right, and I know you haven't fought since April of 2019.
Yeah.
So with that layoff, as far as now you're with Team Havoc, what have you done to get yourself back in shape and being prepared for February 2021 return?
Helping my brothers out, my gym mates, Edgar, I don't know how to spell his name, Balanta.
Yeah, Belonga, yeah,
Oh,
he's fighting
man.
Saturday.
Yeah.
The big puncher.
That's my bro. He fight, yeah, he about to get another knockout.
Another
So I push him. No, he can vouch for me. So even though I was inactive as far as in fights, I've been sparring, I've been training. I'm always strong, and when my brothers need me, I show up to the gym and participate in it.
So let me ask you this. This is the Nose Hunter.
How you doing?
Now, you work with Edgar Berlanga, right? You sparred him before. Can you just tell our fans, because I seen him spar in person in Brooklyn, how hard this man hits even when he's pulling back? I seen him spar, and I'm a light heavyweight. And I said, the first thing that came in my head is like, oh shit, I need to deal with a guy like that, I gotta have good cardio. This dude is a problem. How hard does this man hit?
He hit pretty hard. He reminds me something of myself, the Puerto Rican version. He brings the pain. So he actually calls me. It's a lot of people who spars with him but can't keep up. So he had called me. I'll be in and out the gym. My mom's a little sick right now.
Okay.
So he
Wish
had
you all the
called me,
best.
yo, listen, bro, I need you. Because I'm the only one who can really take his hit in the gym, besides a few others. He hit hard. And his spar, he has about 4 sparring partners where Uncle Dre have to, rotate him and get him a break. So I'm the only one who can actually get in there and give him some resistance, throw him around. So when he get in the ring, ain't nobody bringing it like me. So that's why he stays strong, too.
I gotta salute you for that, man, because I seen him backing down a cruiserweight, and I'm like, and a light heavyweight. So I gotta respect you for that, man. Your record speaks for itself.
Iron sharpens iron.
So yeah, he's a good dude, great guy, man. He trains very hard. That's why he's above a lot of the competition. That's what he's gonna go for.
Now, Joseph, you mentioned a February 2021 return. Now, do you have the opponent name yet, or
no. Since I've been pro, my opponent, I get my opponents about 4 days away
okay?
before the fight, actually. So I really don't know. I just train for whoever.
So now that you're with Team Havoc, and obviously you're around great fighters, obviously Edgar, you're with Alex Vargas, which I know, great young man, definitely on the rise.
Got the technician over there.
Yeah, Melissa's there. It seems Chris Glover's there. It just seems like Team Havoc is definitely on the rise, and you're with them. Being around all these great fighters, has that inspired you to put in that extra work, or have those long nights, grind it out with them?
Yeah, of course. Ain't nothing like that. I'm from Far Rockaway. I'm not from Brooklyn. I'm from Far Rockaway, and which me and my coaches actually built our gym, and I was the only pro there for a while. So I still work there. That's still my home. That's my first home. But being with Havoc puts me around my peers with other pros. You have a lot of pros that have been pro before me there. It was Danny Jacobs there. He's not there anymore, but we still got Curtis Stevens.
Yes.
And we have a few people who just in the gym who we give each other advice and we help each other out. So that plays a big part in me getting back in the ring, being around my peers.
That's great to hear, and obviously working with Uncle Dre. I mean, what has he done for you as far as not even just in the ring, outside the ring as well?
No, Uncle Dre is Uncle Dre. His name, no, Uncle Dre. Advice. He'll feed you if you're hungry. You know, make sure you get where you're going safe. And he just gives you that father uncle figure. You know, he's there. He listens for you, and whatever he can do, you know, he be there. He makes sure we tight as a family. He don't tolerate no nonsense. He'll let you know straight up. No matter how big you are, I'll slap the shit out you. You know.
So he give you that tough love, that family tough love.
He'll be doing 1,000,000 push-ups. So he keeps everybody tight. He run a tight camp. Him and Terrence, Coach T.
Okay.
You know, so we have a few hitters over there, and we doing good.
Nice.
And I definitely do respect him a lot, because even me, like in Brooklyn, like sparring, you know, like one pro, yeah, he keeps that gym tight, and he don't let stupid sparring happen, man. You just get your stuff off and keep it moving, man. There's no, you know, a lot of things you see in other gyms you just don't tolerate, and I do have to agree with you on that one. Like, sparring there, man.
I need that.
Even as an amateur, I felt like, you know, he you know, he's just very respectful, and if you're there to work, then it's all good.
Yeah.
Now, Joseph. Joseph.
Oh, we got disconnected.
Yeah, I think he hit it by accident. Yeah, wait for him to call back.
I think by accident he hung up. I was gonna ask him about, obviously, the weekend that just passed, the pay-per-view fight.
Oh, here we go.
Sure, he's calling back. Antonio Baez, AB Boxing News, who's speaking?
Yeah, this Joe. I think the call dropped.
Okay. Well, we're glad. Thank you for calling back. I was just gonna ask you. Obviously, we had a great PBC pay-per-view, Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view. Errol Spence Jr. versus Danny Garcia. How did you see the fight? As far as, you know, Errol got the win, and what would you rate his performance?
I actually, I was dealing with personal issues, so I actually didn't even get to see the fight yet. But
Okay.
I saw a little highlights, and I always had Errol Spence. I was the Olympic alternate for heavyweight in 2012. So I traveled with me, Marcus, Errol. So I always put my money on my brother. So Danny was nice, but Errol is relentless. In a lot of good fights, I see myself in him, and I bring the pain. And Errol the type to bring the pain. Good
Right.
kid, he's humble, but when it's time to fight, he brings it. He did it in the amateurs, and that's why he is what he is. And I always, I have my money on him, period. I just like him.
So for Errol next, which fight would you think would be better, Manny or Crawford?
I think Crawford. Errol a little too big for Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao bring it, he's quick, but again, Errol hit hard. So I think Crawford, he's a young dude. He's strong himself. He's relentless, and he got that switch in him. So that'll give Errol some good looks, and I think it'll be a good fight.
Nice. As far as 2021, for yourself, you're going to be back in the ring February. Would you say you're looking to be active, fight 2-3 times in that year?
Yeah. I hit pretty hard. When I'm in shape, I never been past the third round at 175. I done fought as heavy as heavyweight. So, and I done got some of them dudes up out of there. So, when I'm in shape, they out of there. Plain and simple. I hit too hard. I'm fast. I'm relentless. I'm going to bring it to everybody. So the fights won't last. So after I knock somebody out in 1 or 2 fights, I just got to stay in the gym and let Dre just keep pushing it.
Nice. As far as your career, what is your ultimate goal? You want to be a champion? Obviously it's going to take a little more time, but you're looking to get an eliminator, after next year?
Yeah, I'm looking to be in the mix. Get back into it. Trust the process. Trust Dre with my career. I got a hell of a management team, a split team management, Dave McWaters.
Okay.
So I trust him with my life. He's been doing good since day one. And he's going to guide me right. So I just got to do my part to keep winning. And he just keep setting up the right fights. And pretty soon I'll be in the mix with, all the champs. My brother Marcus Brown.
Okay.
Whoever's up there, I'll be there soon.
Nice. Now
Shout
it's,
out to Marcus Brown too. That's my we grew up in the amateurs together, and that's the bro.
nice.
I think you know, and me being a light heavyweight, I think Marcus Brown, in my opinion, is the most complete light heavyweight in the division. I think as being an athlete and being technically sound, man, do you think that Marcus Brown is gonna get a chance to like maybe fight a Bivol or something like that in the future?
Yeah. Other than myself, Marcus Brown is my best light heavyweight out there. I like. Arthur Beaverdale, I believe his name is. I went to Canada and worked out with him.
Better
He hard as
Beav,
shit.
yeah. Better Beav is a big puncher.
Yeah, hard as shit. He the hardest punches I've been in the ring with.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I worked with the best, you know, and I worked with him when I was about 210. I was out of shape.
Who hits harder, Malenga or
Benavidez?
Better Beav?
That's a good question.
Better be.
Wow.
He got the
God.
more boom, but Malunga,
He's
his
faster.
punches come punches and bunches.
Well, there's
So
a
he
big,
hit hard, but he's gonna hit you with about 4 of those.
but there's an
Ooh.
age difference also. Yeah,
How is
Edgar's
it?
very young.
How old is Better Beav? Like 35?
Yeah.
He's about like 35, 36.
Yeah, Benavidez is in
He's
his
a big,
late
he's a big
30s.
light heavyweight.
I keep forgetting that like the higher weight class guys are a little bit older.
Right, and Edgar's
I think about
20
168 too.
Yeah, so he's about like maybe yeah, he's like 22. But I would like, you know what, I'd like to see him fight.
But he's so young, he still can.
If y'all put them next to each other, it's a big size difference. I've been in the ring with both of them,
Wow.
and I'm a little short for heavyweight 135. I'm around 5'9" and a half.
Oh wow. So you
Yeah, I'm only like 5'9" and a half, 5'10" sneakers. Them dudes is tall, but Canada boy, he real big.
yeah.
So what would you say? You know, what was the difference as far as you sparring both of them? What could you say about Benavidez that you know it's in your head that it's just something that just there's a difference. Like I spar Benavidez, big difference of fighting from sparring Malanga.
I think Benavidez,
We got the call drop again. Hold on.
Dropped, unfortunately.
It might be his line.
Right.
Yeah. So we wait for him to call back.
I'm sure he's calling a call back, and that's definitely a very interesting question. That's
Yeah.
I was very intrigued when he said that. I did not know he had previous work with Benavidez.
Yeah.
Berlanga's young too. He might grow into light
and
heavyweight,
and
and we
that's
might
something
see.
too.
Yeah,
We can't be too tough on Edgar Berlanga because
He's still small and young.
He's still
Well,
considered
smaller and young.
a youngster.
Yeah, he's still got to grow
He
into
walks
his.
around, he's as big as me because I seen him in the gym when he was sparring. I talked to him, I wish him luck, and I say, yo, keep everything up. He's as big as me, and I'm a light heavyweight, and I walk around like right now out of shape, 200 pounds.
Oh,
He's a big 168.
Antonio AB Boxing News.
Yeah, this Joe. I don't know why this call keeps dropping. I'm sitting here talking this whole time. And looking at the phone.
It's all good. No worries, no
But
worries.
yeah.
We appreciate you calling back.
Yeah.
So I was saying before, if you could tell me the difference between sparring a Benavidez and sparring Edgar Berlanga.
Benavidez, you gotta think defense first because one punch can really hurt you. Edgar, he's just gonna get you. No, you gotta try to bring it to him because he's just gonna throw a lot of punches and everything is hard and sharp. Edgar's a little more sharper. Benavidez got a little more harder to punch.
Like Better be like for me, like Berlanga, I feel like with him at 168, I think he's gonna have to go up soon because he's probably gonna walk through guys. And I'm a big fan of Caleb Plant, Saunders. I'm a big fan of a few of those other guys like what's the tall guy that said that they want to set Plant up with?
Benavidez.
I think
Oh, I
Berlanga
like
would.
Benavidez.
I think Berlanga would take out Benavidez. I think he would outbox him, and I think he probably would stop him. That's just my
I agree.
opinion.
At 168, I don't see nobody dealing with Edgar.
Nobody at all. Nobody on this level at all.
Not really, nah. I really, Caleb Plant, he's alright, but he don't punch hard enough.
So if Edgar were to move up to light heavy, how well you think he'd be in that division?
He have more of a challenge. I would still go with him because as he moving up, I think he'll get stronger as well. He just wouldn't move up and be a smaller guy, so he naturally add power and
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they give more of a challenge because they be bigger and they hit harder. But he'll be faster than a lot of them guys, so I still give him a shot.
It's scary. It's scary with him because I was in the gym. I'm 33, and I was in Brooklyn. I was watching him spar. Gio, the cruiserweight, and I was like, man, this dude is not even fully mature in his body. Like I started boxing at 25, and I'm a natural like heavyweight.
He's a young boy. He still got a lot of years in him.
He can go up the cruiserweight. This dude's height, he's like 6'1". Me and him is like eye to eye, and I'm like, this dude, muscles are bigger than mine, and I'm a light heavyweight. And I'm like, yo, this dude is just strong.
So Joseph, over the weekend, one of my reporters, GT, he actually interviewed Edgar Berlanga, and Edgar talked about, of course, his upcoming fight this Saturday, and he also spoke about how when he met Floyd after his last victory, how Floyd had high praise of him, and also told him that he said, "Boy, your hands are dynamite." You know, he said, so Floyd had high praise for him, and Floyd said to him, if I was managing you, you would be fighting for a championship than your next fight. So it seems like he has the co-sign for Floyd Money Mayweather. So it looks promising for him that as he keeps fighting, and I like that Edgar's staying active, and Top Rank is doing a good job promoting him and keeping him busy.
Definitely.
So that's something I see, as I mentioned, with the co-signing of Floyd, that he only can get better.
Yeah.
So now we got, his longest average fight was like a minute and a half.
Right. Well,
So now when you have situations like that,
right.
it's like a double-edged sword. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, the guy's good. But is he benefiting from that lack of ring experience? Because then you might get in there with a guy that could take a shot and you have to go into later rounds. How would he fare then?
He'll do the same. I think, like Mike Tyson, people question, can you go the distance because the dudes ain't making you?
Right.
That shouldn't be a question if you're knocking anybody out. It ain't your fault. Get somebody in there that can take the punch.
True.
So I think when you get somebody that can take his punch, he'll just keep punching them.
I think when
that's about it. So I think he could go the distance. I just think there's no 168 out there that will be able to go the distance with him.
I think with a guy like him as well, like see, people don't understand too, and me, like, just being around him, seeing him like live in action, he's very patient. Like, people think he's just a guy that just take guys out. The thing about it, he'll wait, he'll touch you with the jab, he'll feint sometime, and then he'll explode, and he'll chill, and then, like, he has that layer. But the problem is he's getting guys out before he can even take a sip of water, and he's knocking out KO Bellows, which a guy that has a decent chin, and he just made him look like his chin was made out of sandpaper or glass.
Yeah. Like, he's bigger than them dudes. And again, if y'all want to see, like, him show his talent, you got to come to the sparring. You got to see me sparring, because I can take his punch.
Nice.
So he hit me, I hit him back.
We got.
He gets to show his talent. He gets to move. I got to try to catch him. So he gets to box. And when he get in the ring and he touch these dudes can't take his punch, so he get him up out of there. So you never get to see the other 100 moves he has with him.
Yeah.
That's great. We definitely got to set that up with Coach Dre and Team Havoc. And Alex is my guy, Alex Vargas. I have high praise for Alex. Great young man, and he's building himself up as well. And I like that Alex stays active, so it's a great thing. So I see that you're around all these great fighters and all this positive energy. For yourself, going to Coach Dre, is that something that you always anticipated, or is something that just happened?
It's something I anticipated. I've been training with my coaches, and I felt it was time to add on and not take away. And I was just, looking at, I worked with the other few people. I've been to other camps. I've been out to Headbangers. They was doing a hell of a job. And just, I ended up moving back to New York, and I was looking for the best camp with other pros like myself. I actually bumped into Danny Jacobs his last fight.
Okay.
I saw who he's fighting with a couple of, last year. And I told him I wanted to come to his camp. And he was saying, he gave me his number. but unfortunately, him and Dre parted ways
Right,
actually
right.
before I got there. And like maybe like a month later, I hit my boy up and he made the connection, Joe Guamo.
Okay.
So I hit Joe up. He made the connection with Dre. Like, oh, you want Dre? Hold on. And he set it up. Dre told me to come down. Let's give it a try. Worked out one day with him. We hit it off, and it was history since. And we just been comparing, grinding together since.
Nice. It sounds great. So Joseph Mack Williams, undefeated, February 6th return. How can the fans and the boxing world reach you?
All my social medias, I keep Joseph Mack Williams.
Okay.
So y'all can know my name. So I'm on Instagram, Joseph Mack Williams. My Facebook, Joseph Mack Williams Boxing. Anything is just Joseph Mack Williams. I'm out there. Once February 6th come and I get this under my belt, get my little ring rust off, I'm gonna stay active. So I'll be on your screen and just look out for me.
Definitely. Joseph, I want to thank you for calling in, and we're definitely going to stay in touch, and I definitely got to see you spar very soon.
No doubt, and I want to thank y'all for the opportunity. I appreciate everybody.
No problem. Anytime, feel free to call in, and we'll stay in touch. Joseph Mack Williams, the return, February 6th.
Havoc.
Team Havoc. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Boxing world. Joseph Mack Williams, 13-0, 8 KOs. He makes his ring return February 6th. Team Havoc. You know, Mello, what would you say about Joseph?
I wish him the best. He sounds like a great guy. He got, a lot of experience with a lot of fighters in there. That's exactly what, a prospector like that needs. The more top fighters that you spar with and fight and get knowledgeable of those styles, it's going to benefit him a lot.
And you're going to, and the one thing I say about what he was talking about was that when you get in there with guys that's just better than you get better. Like, you spar guys like me. I've always wanted to be the guy that go in the gym and spar guys that better than me. I spar guys that are amateurs that won gloves. I spar guys that won gold.
I spar pros.
Yeah.
I spar pros.
And that makes you more sharper. Like, one thing else, a lot of people, you see on social media, you see guys spar guys easy and all that stuff. Every time you see a guy, we spar a guy had 12 fights, 14 fights. I take smokers with guys that got 14, 15 left. Guys that I could not fight as a novice. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that sharpens you. What you just talked about with Berlanga and all those guys.
Right.
The guys, I would love to spar Edgar Berlanga, like a guy like that. In good shape, of course.
Of course.
Yes.
Because the fact of the matter is, I know he punch harder. I know that he has attributes, youth, power, that things like, I would not worry about power fighting somebody else when you got a guy that good and undefeated, very intelligent, and that's where all of the groundwork is in the gym. It can make or break you when it comes to fighting. Is you're working the gym, you're sparring.
Definitely. So Joseph has said he spars with Edgar, and for him to take his shots, I know he's got to be doing something right. So
yeah.
So AB Boxing News, we look forward. I'm definitely going to stay in touch with Joseph Mack Williams, and we definitely gotta see that sparring and definitely get the 4-on-1 with that. But we wish Joseph Mack Williams the best. His ring return February 6th, and we'll keep the boxing world stay in tune with that. But we do have to talk about, there was a fight on the Zone, Matchroom Boxing, Friday, and it was the return of Billy Joe Saunders.
Oh, yeah.
So
Billy
we got to
Joe.
talk about that. He defeated Martin Murray. He clearly won the fight. He clearly dominated the fight. How would you rate Billy Joe Saunders' performance?
He looked good, man. He's a slick fighter. He's southpaw. He knows how to get in there and work the guys. I mean, he made a couple of fighters look silly before, like David Lemieux.
Right.
So, he's skilled. He's definitely a skilled fighter.
I'm a big BJS fan. I didn't get to see the fight, but Martin Murray, that's something that I could have predicted if I even watching the fight. I mean, Saunders is complete. Saunders got hand speed, accuracy. He's got ring cleverness. He's very slick. I don't want to see Andrade versus him, honestly.
I was just gonna mention that Andrade wants to fight him. The fight was supposed to happen a few years ago in Boston, but unfortunately there was a
It's not
positive
going
test.
to. You know what it is? It's not going to sell. Billy Joe Saunders needs someone with personality. I would love to see a Plant versus Billy Joe Saunders at 168, even a Canelo Alvarez, but that doesn't look like it's in sight. So I would say maybe a Plant at 168. Those are two guys, as me being fans of that type of style. Southpaw versus Orthodox, two slick guys They're both going to trash talk. They're both going to make it the fight build up good. If I was a promoter, I would definitely from UK and America, I would definitely try to put those two together, and I think it would definitely sell out.
Well, let's look at it. I hear you, no son. But let's look at it as a business side. Stablemates, Boo Boo, and Billy Joe Saunders. It's a fight that can be made very easy early next year. Personally, I still like to see it.
But you gotta understand this too. Like Andrade is cool, but the fact of the matter, he's not getting promoted how he's supposed to get promoted to the mainstream. See, us boxing enthusiasts know Boo Boo Andrade. We know how good he is. I'm a fan of him. But the fact of the matter is that he's not getting as much TV time. He's not doing a lot on social media. He's not talking as much as he probably could. He does have a lot of personality. He can trash talk, but he's going to have to do a lot more with a guy like Billy Joe Saunders to promote it, because promoters are going to like it like this. Okay, well, it's a risky fight for both, and what's the reward if it's not monetary?
Well, I mean, to be fair, the fight was supposed to happen already. So why not, make it happen, let's say.
It can happen, but like I said, we don't want another fight like with Billy Joe Saunders versus what's the guy?
Lemieux?
No, not Lemieux, the black dude. The kid, his son punched him in the balls.
Oh, Willie Monroe.
Willie Monroe. We don't want another Willie Monroe, Billy Joe Saunders situation, right? Like that fight was exciting, it was cool, it was great, but you forgot about it. And it's a fight, and how much did it really draw? Probably not as much as he would probably fight Canelo or somebody like a Caleb Plant that is being spoken about fighting Canelo. We need to put him in that mix.
Well, let's say Billy Joe, he's open for the Canelo fight for next year. Let's say he can't get it, and the best opponent he could get is Boo Boo Andrade.
Then he would have to go for it.
Let's see it. And actually, Andrade was supposed to fight on that card on last Friday, the Zone Matchroom Boxing, but his opponent tested positive.
Is he officially a 168-pound guy now?
I believe so.
Okay, so he left 160 because there's nothing there because they didn't want him to fight Golovkin.
So you know what? You know what's interesting? Why not throw him with Jacobs at 168?
What, Billy Joe?
No, Boo Boo.
It could happen, but the fact of the matter is that, I mean, where's Jacobs now? You know what I'm saying? Like, can Jacobs go with another, have a good performance? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, is it risky for Jacobs right now? Like, I think it's risky for Jacobs. I think Andrade should fight maybe a younger fighter. And I think because he hasn't had that chance to really showcase himself against a young up-and-coming star, I think we need to find an up-and-coming young star at 168, maybe even a Callum Smith when Canelo finishes with him. Maybe get a Callum Smith, see how good he does, and then you get a Canelo fight. That's the route I would take.
Definitely. I definitely hear what you're saying. We'll see what happens. But we also got to talk about this week's fight. AJ makes his return. Anthony Joshua, UK, 1,000 fans in attendance. Matchroom Boxing, the Zone. Anthony Joshua versus Pulev. How do you guys see that fight going?
I see Joshua. He's going to be using his jab. When he got that loss, he had to really grind back down and really change. Go back to the drawing board. And we saw a better Joshua the second time around against Ruiz. He's going to be smart. He's not going to try to get caught. He's going to box. I think he's going to take it pretty easy.
Right. I got AJ winning by knockout, and hopefully we see a major fight with him come summertime next year. But that's the Zone Matchroom Boxing. Mm-hmm. And now on Top Rank, we have the return of Shakur Stevenson. He'll be fighting Toka Khan Clary, a 10-rounder junior lightweight matchup. What do you guys expect from the return of Shakur Stevenson?
Same thing we always get with Shakur Stevenson: a good jab, good footwork, good ring cleverness, ring maturity. Shakur Stevenson is going to give us what we always give: speed, ring cleverness, good jab, good boxing IQ. He's going to just outbox this dude, and then we're going to talk about him going to 135.
Right. What about Felix Verdejo, too?
130, excuse
me. Felix Verdejo's on that card.
Yes, we got to mention that.
Felix Verdejo, man, El Diamante, Puerto Rican fighter. He was supposed to be the next big up-and-coming thing. I think he can still, climb up there. Felix Verdejo is a good fighter. He's a good Puerto Rican fighter, and, he's hungry. So I see him taking that W.
Well, let's hope Saturday he takes care of business and we can throw him back in the mix.
Yes.
In his division, being one of the top tier fighters.
Lightweight division.
Right. Also, like we said before, with Joseph McWilliams, the return of Edgar Berlanga. We want to see if he can continue his knockout streak. And we're going to see.
First round knockout streak.
Right, first round knockout streak as he fights Ulises Sierra. So we're definitely going to be, he's Team Havoc, also with Joseph McWilliams, Team Havoc. We're going to be keeping a close eye on Edgar's performance and Shakur's and AJ's. So this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great card. We got the Zone Matchroom Boxing, AJ versus Palev. Shakur Stevenson makes his return for Top Rank. And fight fans, we got a great weekend to end. Well, actually, to start in the middle of December, let's say.
Mhm.
We still got more fights. We still got the return of Triple G
Tying
this
up
month.
December. We're tying up December
Right, we're
with some
tying
good
up
fights.
December. We
Yes.
still got the return of Triple G, and we still got the return of Canelo Alvarez.
Fighting John Doe.
Right. So, as we conclude another episode, Barstool Hoops Radio presents AB Boxing's podcast show. I'm Antonio Baez,
It's Carmel Masonette.
This is the Nose Hunter, Desmond Ware.
and we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, 8 to 9 p.m. every Thursday, and we'll catch you guys for another episode next week. Till next week, take care.